Now let me start with a really hard question. Do you know what your first thoughts are when you wake up in the morning? Have you ever paid attention to them? I don't know, I hadn't forever. Unless you're saying to yourself, yes, I'm alive and I'm stoked and I love my life.
I recall Central Park in fall, how you tore your dress, what a mess, I confess.
You probably need to change. If you're doing that, nothing to hear here, you can move on. Heyo! Welcome to another episode of MISSFIT Wellness. Today's episode is about changing our language. So much of our language that we speak inside of our minds is negative. It's geared toward blaming or taking blame or shame. And we are living in a world that needs to change how we speak to ourselves and to others. We need more kindness, more understanding. We need more assumption of good. We need more positive language and more love. How we speak to ourselves inside of our heads, those narratives that are running every day, directly affects how we feel about ourselves, which then affects how we act and how we show up in the world. When we walk around feeling inadequate or full of shame, we act out on those feelings. How many times have you had someone act out on you and you don't know where it came from? It's probably they're filling themselves with, negative self-talk. Then we speak poorly to our peers, our spouses, our children. Humans do tend to project our own thoughts and insecurities onto others. We need more loving and more forgiving thoughts. We need to heal ourselves as a collective. And really a simple way to start with that is our language and our self-talk. According to psychologists, there's this thing called negativity bias. Our brain is more likely to remember negative events and put more weight into negative thoughts. Psychologist and author Rick Hanson refers to our brain being wired to scout for the bad stuff and fixate on the threat. While this is super useful tool if you're being chased by a bear, it's not useful to focus on negative thoughts about our jobs or our bodies or our personalities, or really most things in our daily life that aren't actually a threat to our survival. In case you need a reason to change the language inside your head for feeling better, there have been 2 studies sharing that prolonged negative thoughts can diminish the brain's ability to think, reason, and form memories, which can increase a greater risk in getting Alzheimer's and dementia. Now let me start with a really hard question. Do you know what your first thoughts are when you wake up in the morning? Have you ever paid attention to them? I don't know, I hadn't forever. Unless you're saying to yourself, yes, I'm alive and I'm stoked and I love my life.
I recall Central Park in fall, how you tore your dress, what a mess, I confess.
You probably need to change. If you're doing that, nothing to hear here, you can move on. Bye. Mostly you probably wake up thinking, I didn't get enough sleep. I don't want to go to work. I have so much I don't want to do today. And if that's you, and that's most of us, you have a great opportunity to learn and grow. When we start out the morning with a negative thought like scarcity, i.e. I didn't get enough sleep, or I don't want to go to work and have so much to do, it immediately puts us in a headspace of unhappiness. Now, I'm not suggesting that you suddenly learn to love your job and all aspects of your life and just be grateful. Though, if you can do that, it won't hurt. However, what we can do is look at our thoughts, pause, and reframe them. Because the goal of each day should be to feel good about moving through our day and even find moments of joy, yes? A thought. What if, when you wake up in the morning, you do say to yourself, I'm awake? This is basically a neutral thought because you are in fact awake. Could you then, instead of thinking all the I have to's, change your language to I get to? I get to go to work today and make money to support myself and my loved ones. I get to make breakfast for my kids to make sure they have energy for their day. I get to go work out and do good things for my body today and my physical well-being. You get the point, right? When we switch those few phrases, our brain will start to notice. and we will make practicing changing our language more of a habit. If you get to make breakfast for your family, you'll do it with gratitude and have a lot more love in the food that you cook for them. Try it tomorrow. I promise it'll change how you feel and therefore how you show up. How often do you look at yourself in the mirror and make zero critiques and say only, I look amazing? When you make a mistake, do you ever just say, oops, I made a mistake? Or do you go down a spiral of shaming yourself for messing up? When is the last time that you noticed how you speak about yourself to yourself? My challenge for you this week is to become a watcher of your thoughts. Pay attention to your inner monologue as you move through your day. Are the words that you speak inside your mind kind, critical, rude, sweet, mean? In your mind, are you good to yourself and to others? So what do we do about this? How do we stop speaking unkindly to ourselves? The first thing is that it starts with an awareness of doing it. Become an observer. Watch your thoughts. I first learned this technique from a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. The point is to watch your thoughts almost like there's tiny little bubbles above people's heads in comics. Look at them and see if they're positive or negative. Here's a really easy way to check in with your self-talk. When you get all dressed up for a night out, do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I look good, except for my arms, or I love the way I look in these pants, but I wish my butt was smaller? Maybe even worse, you say nothing good about yourself. What if you're just like, ugh, I'm so skinny that all my clothes look horrible on me? If you notice you're being unkind, there is a chance to course correct. If you don't, then you're going to go out on your date or your night out with friends and you're not your happy self. You're self-conscious, maybe sad or grouchy. The whole point of the night out is to have fun, and now it's lost. Now that we've noticed how we're speaking to ourselves, we need to take action steps to change it. You've heard it before. One way to speak to yourself is how you'd speak to your best friend. You wouldn't say mean things to them. Don't say them to yourself. Another way is to affirm yourself. And no, I'm not going to go on and just do the affirmations and say, I'm beautiful and strong, and actually believe it. That would be like level 10 self-talk. But let's start at level 2. Level 1 is just noticing. For now, if your thought is, my belly is flabby and I hate it, change it to something simple like my stomach is healthy and processes the nutrients that keep me going all day. Does that sound weird? Probably, because it's not focusing on the vanity of the original thought. You're probably thinking, but my goal is to love the way that my belly looks. Okay, and I get that, and I want that for you too. If you can change your language and reframe to talk about how wonderful your stomach functions for you and really give it appreciation and love, neuroscience says you will change your mind literally and you will love your stomach or whatever parts of yourself that you're working on loving. I get the unkind thoughts about myself too. I really do. Even sitting here in front of this camera, I have to keep paying attention to my thoughts about myself and make sure I'm being kind to myself because I want to make sure I feel good and strong enough to share this information with you. It's completely normal to have negative self-talk, so don't dwell on that too much. Even when I'm feeling so good, I almost always find something to be rude to myself about. However, I'm working on that, and it takes a ton of awareness and reframing every single day. But it gets easier the more I practice. Practice makes progress, right? The same thing goes when we make a small mistake, and we all make mistakes all the time. We don't, however, need to belittle ourselves or berate ourselves over it. Did you forget to pick up something your partner asked you to go grab? Well, just say, thank you for understanding that I didn't mean to forget, and I'm sorry. A thank you first, then the apology, will help disarm the person that may be upset with you. Now, make it better if you can. Go pick up the thing and forget about it. Move on. If you sit there and think, oh, I'm such an idiot and I forgot, or I just wish I wasn't so disorganized and I would have written it down, you're surely going to spiral out so many inner stories that are not true. So then you feel so bad about yourself that you end up being rude to your partner too because you get defensive, assuming that they think you're an idiot too.
3 large Benjamin, 3 large
idiots doing idiot things because they're idiots.
When you can change the language to just, I forgot this, and state the fact with no feelings about it, You can move on and not have it spiral out. See how you can experiment with watching your thoughts first and then changing them into a more positive spin using gratitude as a guide. It takes a lot of work to change our negative thought patterns, but it is possible to do it with practice. Just keep reminding yourself you're not being chased by a bear right now. Speak more kindly to yourself and you'll speak more kindly to others, creating the ripple effect that we so desperately need. Thanks for tuning in. I can't wait to catch up with you guys next week. Go out and be your best self, starting with your best, most loving thoughts inside your brain. Can't wait to talk to you soon.
Misfit Wellness is produced by Golden Oak Media. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and catch up on the latest 2 episodes about Miracle Mornings and the power of no.
Talk to you soon. Bye. 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 Okay.
I would. See you in the next one.
See you the next time. Okay.